2, 3. Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee Chat. I'm Anson.
I'm Sung Wah.
And we're from
Eason Music. Eason Music is a company that started in 1978, and we deal in all kinds of things related to Chinese orchestra instruments. So we sell instruments, and we also do lessons, and we do repairs and restoration.
Yes, and in this episode, we have a special guest with us, Mr. Patrick. Hello, Mr. Patrick.
Hello everyone. Hello Sung Wah and hello Anson.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick and I'm an instrumentalist. I'm a yangqin instrumentalist in Singapore, and I've been teaching in Singapore schools for many years. And today I'm very happy to be here to share my experience as an instructor over here with every one of you.
Okay. So, Patrick, how was your music learning journey like when growing up, when you were young?
All right, when I was in primary 2, my mom actually asked me to go and join Chinese orchestra.
Wow.
So during that time, I don't even know what Chinese orchestra is. I just say, oh, okay, then I'll just go and join. So during our time, our Chinese orchestra doesn't have as many instructors as now. So last time, it's like at the orchestra, there are only a few instructors that have to teach
Everything.
Yeah, they have to teach everything. So I remember there is no such thing as yangqin instructor during my time.
pipa instructor.
Yeah, it's a pipa instructor taking over the whole pluck string instrument. So my growing up in the orchestra was actually in a very leisure and relaxing way, because the pipa instructor don't really know yangqin a lot. He can only teach me a very basic thing, and most of the time my seniors are the one that are teaching me. And the thing is that my senior don't even know what they are doing also at that time. So basically I grew up not having a very
strict environment.
not very very strict environment, and also not very professionally trained. So it is really very very how do I
Tough? Is it tough or?
it is tough in the sense that I could not catch up with a lot of things in the orchestra because I was not trained properly.
Their basics were not good now.
Yeah, our basic foundation was very bad because the one instructor could not take care of so many students. So I will say that the students nowadays are really lucky to have like individual instrument for every instructor. They will have a individual instrument. So I think this is something that I'm very happy to see right now.
Yeah, I think yes, a lot of schools they have like yangqin instructor for yangqin players and pipa for pipa players.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some schools which one person takes a
Depends
few
on the
lah.
school's budget.
Yeah.
But instructors definitely enough to go around if the school is able to hire.
Individual instructors for
Then how about
instruments.
your individual lessons when you went overseas for your further studies?
Actually, I have been doing it in a very amateur way since primary school, because I was so bad with yangqin that at a point I actually wanted to quit the yangqin.
What made you stay?
And actually, when I go to secondary school, my secondary school doesn't have any more Chinese orchestra. So I actually joined the community club Chinese orchestra. That was San Chinese Orchestra last time. So so during that time, I continued to play, but because my basic foundation was so bad that the conductor actually asked me to go and play percussion instead of staying in
I don't remember
yangqin.
hearing that, because all I hear about is like, wow, Patrick was the yangqin player in your Jingzhen. It's like, he's really good.
I was really bad with my basic foundation. So I thought of quitting because I didn't want to play drum. I didn't want to go percussion, but I was forced to go percussion because I was not good enough to catch up. So during that time, I was quite demoralized. So I thought that maybe this is really not for me. So when I just go play a few years, then I actually quit during my Sec 3 time.
Oh.
Yeah, but I really love Chinese orchestra. I love being inside a part of the team. I love playing music, but I was just not good enough and I don't know where to go.
Okay.
So when I go to poly, when I was in 18 years old, it was in Temasek.
Okay.
So I joined Temasek Poly Chinese Orchestra. I thought maybe yangqin is not for me. Why not I join another instrument?
Oh,
So I actually chose 笛子.
well, at one point,
Yeah.
you were not a yangqin player.
Yeah, there was a point where I was not a yangqin player. I went this. I was very happy to learn a new instrument. I said, now this time I got the instructor to teach me
there
yangqin.
is a specific.
Yeah, so I'm going to learn this instrument well. So I took 2 lessons with the instructor, learning the very basic things. Then the president of the Temasek Chinese Orchestra tell me, hey Patrick, all the seniors for yangqin has graduated, and
So
I heard that you
they
have background.
Uh-huh.
So they said, maybe we want you back in yangqin.
Okay,
And I
okay.
thought, but I just learned this. But I thought maybe okay, I give it a try one more time.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so this time when I go back to yangqin, I was the same. I couldn't read scores. I couldn't do a lot of things. So the conductor tell me, why not you go and take private lessons?
Okay.
That's where I took lesson from Qu Jianqing 老师.
Ah.
Yeah, so I actually truly learned yangqin at the age of 18.
Oh,
Oh, that's quite a late.
also I started
the two of you,
learning like in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Learning yangqin.
So to be fair, this is actually very late
Same. I share the same sentiment.
yes, for learning an instrument, this is truly very late. So this is something that I hope that I can change when I graduated from the Conservatory of Music. I thought maybe this time as a yangqin instructor, I want to make sure that all the students have the correct kind of teaching methods, the basic foundations to be strong enough, and yangqin is going to be one of the strongest instrument in the orchestra, and the students is going to be profited from all this training.
Yeah, actually, that's my goal also when teaching yangqin. I want you better be the best section in the orchestra. But of course, learning during our time, during your time, during Lao Ban's time, compared to now, right? There's definitely some changes
Very big
in the
changes.
generation already.
Yes.
Like because I remember during my days, like if we get scolded, we just have to, suck it in and just carry on. But what are the things that we've encountered or you encountered during this period? Like, are students more willing to have a strict instructor, or you have to change your way of teaching? There's bound to be some changes along the way. So I remember back then, I mean, I'm personally not the bad student, the one that's getting scolded, but then I heard of instances where, especially not in Chinese orchestra, but like in dance CCAs or dance troupe, right? There are teachers who actually take a stick and beat students. Like, your posture is wrong, then just hit the part of the body that's like not doing the right position. Like, have you guys ever heard of such instances?
I mean, growing up, getting beaten is part and parcel of learning, whatever.
As a Chinese or Asian family, because
Yeah, I mean, not only learning instruments. I mean, personally, learning instruments, my teacher was very strict, but he doesn't.
You mean your violin instructor?
Yeah, my violin instructor was very strict. I mean, he screams at me and shouts at me, kind of thing, and
Will it physically harm you?
No, he won't physically harm me, but in primary schools growing up, our teachers, the way they punish students is they take cane and they just whack us, or they just slap us, or just pull our ears.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, all this.
I always found it acceptable.
I also find it acceptable. I mean,
it conforms us into to behave I don't want to be beaten. I don't want to get my ear pulled, so I'll behave myself.
It's more of a fear-based training kind of thing.
I mean, they say spare the rod and spoil the child. So I believe there is certain merits in putting a little bit of fear in us, so that we can listen better and
but
follow
I also
better
believe that even you instill fear, but at the end of the lesson you got to let them know, like, nothing personal or something like that. Yeah,
It was more for their own good.
yeah.
Okay, so
but kids nowadays might not be able to understand this concept.
Yeah. So Patrick, tell us about the learning environment nowadays. You as a teacher, are you still
not there won't be a good way of putting it, so just get it out of the back of it.
are you still able to hit them if need to, or shout at them?
if I'm still able to hit them, I won't be sitting here today.
We do not condone violence.
Where
Yeah.
will you be? In jail?
Say
is it?
no to violence. Okay, definitely we are not supposed to have any physical how do I contact?
Contact.
Yeah, we're not supposed to have any physical contact with the students. So a lot of time we can only use verbal warning. Okay, so there's a difference between a warning and a scolding.
Okay.
Yeah, and one with more authoritative tone, and the other one is like really
Just straight out
flat.
personal
Yeah, straight
attack.
off. Yeah. So we need to let the students know, okay, why we do what we do,
Okay.
and not just scold them for nothing, and just because we have a bad day today, and we just use them as a
Punching bag.
Yeah, as a punching
I
bag.
mean,
and-
figurative punching bag, not
yeah,
physically really punching the
yeah.
student.
Yeah, so it's very important for them to know, okay, what they are doing is wrong. We have to use a more stern tone to talk to them. This is to let them know what they did wrong. Then after that, you need to also find a balance, to find a way to encourage them. Oh, so just now what you did is wrong, but now what you did is correct. So let them know, okay, so what is the differences between right and wrong first, before you just scold them without letting know what is wrong with them. Yeah, so I think this is something that we need to take note. Recently, especially now, kids get emotional damage very easily.
Hearing what Patrick said just now, I do have an encounter, not my own, but someone shared it with me. So this is about a student, not scolding the student, but it's more about how this teacher emphasizes a lot on like basic practice, 基本练习, and always highlighting like the weaker techniques due to the students' unawareness. So the teacher remember highlighting this a lot, and also very firmly highlighting to a particular student, because the student's awareness wasn't there. Obviously, after many weeks of like always reinforcing like, oh, please do this correctly. So one day, the student's parent messaged the teacher and saying, "Teacher, you don't have to focus so much on the basics. He won't be doing professional like you. Just let the student take the grading pieces and get cert can already." Yeah. So in the teacher's opinion, right, the teacher felt like this is also because nowadays students have a lot of stress from different like avenues, like there are more homework and this and that. So the teacher in charge came up to the teacher telling, like the teacher in charge would tell teachers in the class that, oh, this student has anxiety, this student has some anger management issue. Yeah, so it really makes teaching things that you want to enforce firmly a little difficult nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, the current climate is a bit more challenging. I wouldn't say a bit. It's a much more challenging.
There's more factors you have to take into, like how would the parent feel, how would the school feel, like if something happened, what school would the school protect you, or protect the teacher or the student more without trying to figure out what the situation is just because it's easier.
I think there is a shift, a sort of a shift in power to students and to
Mostly parents.
to parents.
Yeah.
Parents and students now, parents as in, I don't know what's happening. I mean,
You're
people,
a parent yourself.
people
Patrick's a
nowadays,
parent too.
people nowadays, they take offense easily at a lot of things. Yeah, like I remember when I was teaching enrichment at a certain school, and that was like 10 years ago. So I, as part of the curriculum, I had this song play along with the ukulele, the song Raw by Katy Perry,
It's a very uplifting and motivating
Yeah,
song.
that's why I thought I mean I chose that song because the chords are easy. So one day one day the teacher came and told me that some parent complained that the song is inappropriate.
In what way?
The
I have no
lyrics,
The
I don't know,
lyrics
I was-
is so like used to bite my tongue and hold my breath.
Oh,
Like,
maybe
it's
that
so
but
motivating.
that would cause people to like
bite their
You
tongue.
ask the kid to bite her tongue, his or her tongue. So
Yeah.
what happened?
so the teacher told me that I have to remove the song.
Just because of one parent.
Just because of one parent complaint, and I think it's not justified because I went back and looked at the lyrics. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Just because the parent don't like this song, I mean, okay, if it's inappropriate, I do understand that, but it is nothing like that. And the school, they did not investigate. Just because the parent complained, and they'll say, okay, just take it out. for fear of, not really for fear lah. I mean, maybe they don't want trouble lah.
Easier to just ask the instructor to take away rather than to like submit paperwork and
Yeah,
get
rather
through
than
MOE.
reply to the teacher, and I mean reply to the parent that, oh, I don't see anything wrong with it. Then afterwards, maybe the parent will send another email or even send to MOE. You know, they want to like just resolve this. I do understand that lah, but you know that sets a stage. You know, in the current environment is like, the school doesn't want too much trouble and will not be standing on the side of the external instructor, you know, and whatever the parents say, they have to address them. Yeah, so that is what I think is currently happening. Do you have any stories to share, Patrick?
Like regarding to this shift in power to the parents.
I think education comes with three ways: the school, the students, and the parents. So in this case, it's the instructor, the parents, and the students. We need to have communications, like what the example that you gave about the parents actually tell the teacher, the instructor, don't need to care about the basics and just let him go for the grading and stuff. Then if that is the will of the parents, then we'll just let it be.
Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes we cannot force our way of thinking on others. If that is what they choose, then they have to bear the consequences of the grading results also. Yeah, so if this is what you choose, definitely all right. So if definitely as a professional, we always want our students to play well even as an amateur. Okay, if some people say that I want to learn this only for fun, but it's not fun when you can't even play a song.
Yeah.
It's not fun when it is unlistenable, unbearable.
Yeah.
And
you struggle just to learn a very simple tune.
so it's not fun. The fun part only come after hard work. After you went through a series of hard work, basic training, foundation firm, you are able to play a song at ease. That's where you truly start to enjoy. Oh, so I can play this. I didn't know that. Now I can play a music that I like. So enjoyment only come after that. But a lot of students just break down or gave up during that period of hardship. So, and at this point of time is where the parents need to step in and say, I'll support you, instructor, to let's help our kids to go through this difficult time so that they can truly enjoy this. But if the parents say it's okay, let's just let them be, I just want them to play this without any stress and fun, then as an instructor, then we have to respect that.
Yeah, and also maybe change our teaching style a bit.
Yeah.
Still try to make sure they play properly, but maybe not so.
Yeah, that means
Tough on them.
we have to really lower down our expectation a lot, just to let them, if you're happy, just do it then. But when the result is here and they didn't get good results, then the parents also has no right to come and tell the instructor that how come it's like that. How come the result is not good? Then I have to go back to this is what you want in the first place. So we have to draw the line very clearly.
Okay.
So we have to tell them, okay, if this is what you want,
this is what you're gonna get.
then I'm not going to bear the responsibility of the results. But if you want the results that you want, I have the obligation to make sure that he went through this training correctly. So I think it's really communications. I mean, we have expectation, but if the parents and the student doesn't live up to our expectation, then we have to lower our expectation to meet their expectation. But by the end of the day, it's their choice that the results is not as good as they wanted, then they have to bear the consequences also. It cannot always be everything is the instructor's problem, because there is communication in the first place. We are all agreed to something already. So by the end of the day, you get the end results. Then someone who make the choices will have to bear the consequences. This is what they call you reap what you sow.
But do you think this could have been avoided if at the very start we already let the parents know like this,
Yes.
then yeah, if we could work together, like, oh, let's, like,
Yes.
you communicate with the parents first, like
Definitely.
that would really save a lot of trouble. But because parents, they are quite I wouldn't say egoistic, but like very firm with what they really believe in. That this is my child, not your child.
Yes.
This is how I want my child to be educated.
Yes, totally respect that.
Yeah.
So it's like I say, you have to communicate right from the start. So every time when I speak to the parents, I will ask them, so how do you want me to help your kids? Some because different parents have different expectations. Some wants to go for competitions. Some say I only want grading. Some say I want DSA. So they have different expectations. So I have to understand what they want. Then I can come up with a series of trainings suited for them.
Yeah, because I have a similar like personal experience just recently only. So it's March now. I mean, from recording this is March, so it's just beginning of the year, and it's a primary school. So meaning primary school this year is SYF. Yeah, so, Singapore Youth Festival. So for our non-Singaporean listeners, so biannually there's going to be this festival music competition. 1 year is primary school, 1 year is secondary school in JC. So this year happened to be the primary school year. So the student that came in, right, I had to cut out half of my time just to get the students settled in, like the basics. Okay, so once I let them settle in, okay, you practice this one, they have to focus on the SYF kids. So there's this back and forth cutting out of time like that. So I thought that, I mean, I personally thought like, oh, I'm trying my best to balance both. So recently, just last week actually, the teacher came to me and said, oh, this student's parent was complaining like, why you never spend all your time on this kid? And then the kid felt left out because you're not taking after this kid, and you go look at the SYF kid, and then the kid felt like this kid should join SYF also. But then it's like, so I have to explain to teachers like, the student just joined, you know, the SYF piece is not easy for even like a beginner who learned for 3 months. Yeah. So the teacher said, okay, I'll communicate with the parents to let them know how this works also. Yeah. So that's my personal experience with having to communicate with the teacher, with the parents, and letting the student know like what level you're at and when you can join SYF and this kind of thing.
So do you think parents complain too much nowadays?
I think they have a right to complain, but I also think they need to understand like why we are doing this also. Yeah.
I mean, I hear a lot of stories about instructors getting into trouble, you know, for certain things that they do or that they say.
Okay.
You know, so I heard of this story of
Okay.
an instructor that he was using maybe a pencil or something to correct the posture of one of the students, and maybe he hit the finger or whatever, you know, in the process. So the kid went back home and complained to the parent. And the parent, instead of giving feedback to the school, just immediately went to file a police report. You know, skip so many levels. Usually you complain to the school, ma. Yeah. If not, you complain to MOE. But you went all the way to
the police
and filed a police report. So as a result, the instructor was suspended from teaching MOE schools.
Oh no.
So that's really overreacting, right? I mean, what is it that is so serious about? I mean, unless he really hit it until there's a bruise or whatever. I mean, if you come back home that and you tell your parent that, okay, my instructor used it depends on what the student tells the parent.
Yeah, sometimes students cannot fully describe what happened, and then parents themselves might take it overboard or overreacted. But I think in the parents' defense, they also, you know, really care about their kids. Yeah,
but I mean, that's overreacting. Yeah, I'm sure all parents care about the kid, but you do not overreact. You go and find out. You go and investigate. You talk to the.
But maybe not all parents can be level-headed. I mean, I'm not a parent myself, but I think you guys have more say in how you should. I mean, you guys are parents yourself, ma. Yeah, so maybe you guys can.
Yeah, I mean,
weigh in on this.
If my kid comes back with bruises and she tells me that the teacher hit me, then I will be angry, you know, and want to find out. But if the kid comes back and say that, oh, the teacher used a pencil and hit my finger, for example, then I wouldn't get worked up until I want to file a police report.
So it's really a individual parent kind of situation, and then us as instructor, we just do our best to not have this happen.
So because Yeah, because of
Yeah,
this.
then it will restrict us.
Yeah, it's very restrictive. You all cannot try to correct the posture if you cannot touch them. I mean, I have heard of another story of
Okay.
this instructor who was scolding a kid. The kid was P6.
Okay.
And because the kid wasn't sitting properly on the floor, so she was
On
scolding.
the floor.
Yeah. She,
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. Then after that, she scolded her and said something
Along the line.
along the line of, okay, I cannot remember, but besides, maybe like you shouldn't be sitting like that because you're a girl and you have your male classmates kind of thing lah. Yeah, then I think after that she went to class and she was crying, and all the classmates gang together and asked her what happened. Then she don't know what she told them. Then the whole lot of them just barged into the vice principal's office and to complain about this instructor. Yeah, and this instructor was called to the vice principal office, and she was asked to stop teaching as well. Yeah, so I think I think it's really bad, that one thing bad is that students, they complain about everything, and the second thing is maybe it's because the parents also what your parents are, your kid will be like, and the parents also complain about everything.
One thing is like, parents complain a lot, but maybe it's also how kids cannot fully describe things, describe the situation, and then things get out of hand or misinterpreted. Did I say it correct? Misinterpreted.
Interpreted. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we are all kids, man. It's not like
We were all kids.
Nowadays kids are more stupid
Fragile.
and they cannot interpret things better.
But actually, sometimes we really need to see the whole picture of the situation. There was this instant that I remember. A student really don't like the instructor, and the student actually hurt herself and make herself bruise and
Okay.
accuse the instructor
Oh,
for bruising her, and warn the other students not to tell the truth. And the other student saw how she bruised herself and accused on the instructor, but they dare not say anything. It's like she's the leader of the group, like that. Yeah, so she just don't like the instructor because I think the instructor keep on picking on her and stuff. That is how she used this kind of way to revenge on the instructor. So in the end, the instructor was also banned from teaching in schools because of that.
But then how did you get to know that it was a fake
because
injury?
the students who are not supposed to say actually leak some secret to me that say because actually she's the one doing it and stuff, so I was thinking that even students now are quite smart, even though they can be dramatic and stuff, so we have to really investigate and look into the whole picture. Of course, I believe that the instructor must have done something that became a weak point for them to accuse. But I think the coin has two sides. There must be two sides of the story. So I think it is really important for them to investigate well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, innocent unless proven guilty. So a lot of these instances, they just take the word of the student. So that's why the instructor nowadays, they really have a tough job now. They really have to watch what they say and cannot really so-called antagonize pupils, students.
But so I have one more experience, right? Submitted. This one I read through, right? It's not the school's fault. It's not the parents' fault. It's not the teacher's fault or the student's fault. So maybe I'll describe the situation and then we'll take a look at it. So this recent encounter with the student, it was during the beginning of the year. Then this student was a little indecisive, couldn't pick what instrument to learn. So in the end, the conductor chose the instrument for this student. So the student decided that it's not what the student liked. But then the father even wrote into the school to complain, saying like, oh, you give my child an instrument that he or she don't like. So the problem is, right, the school doesn't have enough instrument to go around. So this, even though the father insisted on it, and in the end, the student didn't really play well and skipped most of the CCA and eventually just never even appear anymore. Yeah. So there's like, what can we make up of this situation?
From what I see is that the first thing is she is indecisive.
Mm-hmm.
So the conductor picked an instrument for her.
He or she, no.
Yeah, okay. So, but the thing is, after she picked up the instrument, she realized that she does not like the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So she has already made a choice that she don't want this instrument already. So she has the right to give up. The parents has the right to say, I don't want this instrument. Okay, but this also leads to another thing is, it's not about what you like. It's about responsibility. You are now in a group. It's not about you, it's about the whole team. So sometimes when we educate students, we have to educate values to them also. It's not just about you like it or not. Responsibility has nothing to do with emotions. Sometimes we need to do what we need to do. Sometimes we don't like to study, but we still have to study. Sometimes we don't like to go for exam, we still have to wait. I don't feel like working, but I still have to wake up and work. It's not about how we feel. We have responsibilities for certain things. So in a CCA, you have to teach the students what responsibilities are, what teamwork is. You don't like this, you don't want to practice, it's okay. But what about the whole team? You're dragging the whole team down. Are you thinking about only yourself, or are you thinking as a whole team? So let them have an understanding, I cannot just think for myself. I have to think that this is a teamwork. If I don't practice, I drag the whole team down. If I'm going to drag the whole team down, either I quit or I continue to work hard. But I cannot be here and do nothing and I'm continue to drag the whole team down. So these are the values that I usually would teach my students. I always tell them, sometimes I myself don't feel like doing some things, but I have to do it because it has to be done. Do the right thing, not need to do the thing. So these are the things that I feel that we have to educate both the parents and the students also. Of course, we have to understand in their perspective, but they also have to understand our perspective as an educator in the school settings. This is a CCA. If you join this CCA, there is some form of responsibility you still have to take up. This is not about your child. Your child is special in your eyes, but your child is the same as everyone's child. So this is something that we need to let them know.
Yeah, I think instilling value is one thing that most of us would overlook also. Or like, but do you think, so we've been saying all this on the, like, not faulting the student, but most of the time is like the student complaining, parents, but do you think us as instructor, us as teachers, right, there should be some form of like development, some form of courses, training on like letting us be better communicators to like, eliminate certain problems that might face just because we don't communicate well, or like learn to handle classrooms, especially kids younger than secondary schools.
I think all this classroom setting and stuff, we will learn through experience. And the things that we say are usually things that the school already warned us. Every year there will be this CCA meetings.
Briefing before the school
there will
year
be
start.
briefing, and the school actually set the standard very clearly, that they always say no physical contact.
Or like social media cannot each other.
No verbal abusive languages. So all these things, we as an educator and as an adult, as a mature adult, we should already know that. So this is, they already put out the link point. So whether we execute it well enough or not, it depends on our own individual. We cannot expect every single teacher to go through this course and make it a very, very dead kind of thing, as a personal kind of thing. I feel that as long as the school already stated what are the do's and what are the don'ts, you as a mature adult should know what are the do's and what are the don'ts. So like, for example, like you say, no physical, whether it's using a pen or what, but the school already stated no physical contact. No matter what your intention is, the school already be very clear. So when the school already stated this very clear, no matter what your excuses are, you already broken the rules. That is the very first thing that the school will look at. They won't want to listen to, because you really want to help the student, what? Because everything is all by paper, black and white. I already told you no physical contact. And if you want to have physical contact, ask the student, can I hold a hand to change your
that's what I do
posture?
also.
Right. So all these things are already very clear cut. So the school are very good at all this because they want to stay out of trouble. And another way that they use it is, this is a way we protect you instructors. We tell you all these things so that you can prevent it from happening. But also sometimes it's really difficult when you are so passionate about teaching. Sometimes you forget about all these things we can understand. So we really need to find a balance in this kind of situation. So like you said, do we need to go for a course? I felt that is not really necessary because I think we are all mature adults to know what are the things to do, and because we are all different human, we express ourselves differently. As long as we don't use abusive word, we don't have physical contact and stuff, I think the class can still go well. Even
I
without
think it's
going
important to strike a balance, like nurturing talents and also like instilling discipline.
Yes.
It's a balance act also.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the current climate is different from like 10, 20 years ago. So they have to evolve.
Yeah, and us as the adult, we have to approach things with more sensitivity, but also have to let the students know like these are the things that you have to go through in order to get to this point. So approach things sensitively, but also communicate your intentions properly, so there's no like misunderstandings also.
Yeah,
Tough lah, because kids.
communication is maybe the key, the priority now, because last time when we learn, they don't really communicate with us, our teachers, right? They just teach. They just ask you what to do.
Scold, okay.
Score, yeah. So right now, maybe another different approach is we need to really communicate to kids why we're doing this and why you should do this.
Yeah,
and of course, throughout this whole thing, remain respectful. Yeah, and don't belittle any of the party also. Like teachers shouldn't, parents shouldn't belittle the teacher shouldn't belittle the kids and stuff like that. Yeah.
Words has power. And that is something that I really understand through my experience, not only teaching, even as a child myself. When I have a lot of negative comments on me, right, it actually impacted me internally. It actually makes me feel insecure, makes me feel less confident of myself by saying all those very abusive kind of words and stuff. So I really believe that words has power to either lift you up or to put you down. So we have to be very careful with our words. But last time, 10, 20 years ago, educators do not have this kind of understanding.
Yeah.
Because that is how they were brought up.
True.
So that is how they are brought up, that is how they are trained, that is the only way they know how to train. But when it comes to our generation now, we have to make the changes. That is why it's very difficult for us, because we are also being schooled and beaten up growing up. So during our generation, we are the point of change, we are the turning point. So we need to change so that the next generation will be able to follow us, and it will just get better and better and better. Yeah, there's a pro and cons. Like pros is that the student will have a better emotions and growing up and stuff. But the cons is they become very fragile. They becomes like a little bit of hardship cannot, a little bit of difficulty cannot. So this is something that we also need to take note, that because society is not as lenient as us. No matter how we try to sugarcoat the words that we use, when you get out of the society, nobody cares. They cannot go back home and cry to their parents and say, this manager or my boss just say harsh word to me, I want to quit. That is not how the society works. If you want to quit, go ahead. Because there are still a lot of people lining up for
you.
Yeah, you are replaceable. That's the thing. Nobody is irreplaceable. No one is special in the society. Only in your family you are. In the society, you just need to understand there are reality. So we need to really understand that, and we need to teach the students, okay, now you feel it this way, but it's okay. But people fail. And what if you fail? So what? Do it again. We just encourage them, but we also need to let them taste failure. We cannot always let them, oh, you're so good.
You cannot
and stuff.
bolster them. Cannot.
Yeah. So they need to taste defeat. They need to know how to climb up back, and they need to know how to face challenges and not to give up attitude and take responsibilities even when things are not going according to their ways. So this is something that we also need to communicate with parents. This is part of education. This is part of educating the values of students growing up in terms of musical and in terms of personal. Then in this way, I believe our next generation will be better.
This has been a really inspiring and deep look into this entire situation regarding to teaching kids in CCA. We once again want to thank Patrick
Thank you.
for appearing on our podcast and sharing his very insightful experiences. And we hope that our listeners also benefit a little more on our discussion today. So if you're listening up to this point, we want to thank you once again for joining us in Coffee Chat. And of course, you have more things you want to share with us regarding your experience or your opinions on this matter. We would definitely welcome you to leave your messages in the comment section or just direct DM us on our social media. So, and if you haven't followed us or subscribed to us, do click on that subscribe button to catch up or to be informed of our next episodes. So once again, thank you, Patrick, to
Thank you,
joining us.
Patrick.
Thank you.
Yes,
everyone.
once again, I'm Anson.
I'm Sung Wah.
We're from Eason
Eason
Music.
Music.
Thank you so much. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
2, 3.